Hi, my name is Stanley Davids. Welcome to that very special community that shares together the study of the parashah, the weekly Sedra. Thank you for joining us. Shabbat is almost upon us. The parashah this week is Tzav, starting with chapter 6 of the book of Leviticus. This Shabbat is very, very special. Now, we all know that every Shabbat is special, but this Shabbat is called Shabbat Hagadol, the great Sabbath that immediately precedes First Seder. You know that First Seder takes place on Monday evening, April 10th, and this is the Friday evening, Saturday morning that precedes that great event. So why is it called the Great Shabbat? Well, on this Shabbat we read a special haftarah from the prophet Malachi, and in that section we read that the time will come when the hearts of parents will be turned toward the children, the hearts of the children will be turned toward the parents, and this wonderful transformation of human existence will take place under the leadership and inspiration of the prophet Elijah. So the Shabbat before Passover is the Great Shabbat. But it's also called Great Shabbat for another reason. Those of us who are ordained know that Saturday afternoon before First Seder, rabbis are instructed to give the longest sermon of the year. During that sermon, they are to detail all the do's and don'ts of Passover observance. So just think about it. What rabbi wouldn't call this Shabbat a great Shabbat if that rabbi is allowed to preach almost until Havdalah? Okay, so it's a great Shabbat, and we welcome you to that, and we welcome you to our study. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lasok b'divrei Torah. Our Sedra provides more and more examples as to how to carry out the sacrificial laws. We have burnt offerings and meal offerings and sin offerings and guilt offerings and thanksgiving offerings and wave offerings, all the different kinds of offerings. And now, after all that, we are ready to institute the profession of the kahuna, the priesthood. Aaron and his sons are about to become Meshichim, a very interesting word. The Hebrew means anointed with oil. They will be Meshichim. But you hear the word. It's the very same word that we use in English as Messiah. The Messiah is someone who is anointed for a purpose, and the priests will be Meshichim. After they are anointed, after they have been taught all the rules, they are given special clothing, and they are ready to serve in the tabernacle. There are many, many fascinating things here, but I'd like to focus just on one item. The Choshen HaMishpat, the breastplate of judgment, and inside the Choshen is found the Urim and Tumim. Now, I wanted to check up on my own knowledge and make certain that I remembered all there was to remember about Urim and Tumim, so I consulted a great rabbi, Rabbi Google. And I was told that Urim and Tumim are involved in claromancy. So I immediately went back into Google to find out what claromancy is or was, and I discovered that it's related to sortition. Then I had to look up sortition. And by the time this was all over, I discovered that I really did know what it is that is being said about Urim and Tumim. The Urim and Tumim were like dice that were placed inside of the high priest's breastplate. And when the high priest wanted to determine God's will, the high priest pulled out the sacred dice and manipulated them in some special kind of a way and found out what God wanted of the Jewish people or of the high priest. Thus we have sortition in the service of claromancy. You may now forget that. But what do these words, Urim and Tumim, actually mean? Well, it all depends. If you're a scholar of Semitic languages, you might conclude that the words mean something like innocent and guilty. In fact, there are numerous places in the Bible that would support such an interpretation. But if you are rabbinic scholars, always looking for deeper truths, you'd conclude that Urim comes from Or, which means light, and Tumim, well, it's from the very same word that we use in the Haggadah when talking about the four sons. Tam, the simple, pure son. So, truth and purity. And additionally, if you are a Yale alumna, you may have the mistaken notion that the proper translation of Urim and Tumim is lux et veritas. That's a mistake, but light and truth comes close. But at least we can confidently assert that from the very dawn of human consciousness, we have sought ways to figure out what the organizing power and powers of the world have in store for us. So we read cloud formations, we carve up animals and read the entrails, we brew some tea and read the leaves, we try to communicate with our ancestors or to find in our dreams the keys to our fate. Why is knowing the future so important to us? Because the fear of the unknown can immobilize us. What lies beyond that ridge? What happens when we come to the edge of the ocean? What will happen if we do or do not take a job offer, or if we decide to enter or not to enter into a committed relationship? We want certainty. We look everywhere for certainty because we feel anxious or even threatened without such certainty, because we want to be in control, because we want to be winners, not losers, because we want a shortcut to knowing which direction we should take. But hard as we try, that certainty will never be available to us. Uncertainty is one of the universe's pervasive principles. We search for universal laws. We search for psychological guidelines. We search for precedents. We even look for laws of uncertainty. And I have to tell you, the concept of laws of uncertainty leaves me quite dizzy. So how should we live? Never do anything that we might regret? Can't be done. Listen to our elders, pay heed to our conscience, study history, anthropology, ethics, Torah. Good things, sure. Useful things, sure. But at the end of the day, we will never get from them that which we are seeking if we aren't immobilized by fear. We will then choose. And then stretching out before us will be that infamous banquet of unintended consequences, because we just can't know what tomorrow will bring. But we have that faith and we have that love which can give us the courage to live. We have more freedom than we sometimes acknowledge to make decisions that can direct us toward a desired horizon. And my friends, we have the stubborn will that allows us to move past the wrong turns that we make and to propel us forward. Having Urim and Tumim probably would make our lives easier. But perhaps the greater satisfaction, the greater glory, the human glory, lies in being able to make choices and to act upon them come what may. May our decisions help bring our world and us to a better place. See you next week. Stay in touch at smdtorah@gmail.com, and please share this video. Chag Sameach.